So today I'm building in Chestnut Ridge, and I haven't built here in a little while. I used to build like early autumn builds in this world. I really think that they're really pretty in this specific lot too. Like I remember this being one of my favorite lots to build on. And it's been a while. I really just I kind of forgot about this neighborhood in Chestnut Ridge for a little while, but I had decided on this because I was like in the world recently, like revisiting an old gameplay save that I had. And I was like, oh, yeah, I used to love building in Chestnut Ridge when the pack came out. And I was like, all right, I want to build something tiny because I need a break from some of the larger builds that I've been doing. And I really did enjoy building this home. It was a very well needed break from the bigger builds, and I really enjoyed furnishing this one as well. It's only a one bedroom, one bathroom home, but I feel like it's really quaint inside. I really like the color palette of it, and it was it felt so much easier to decorate than all my other builds have been recently. And so it was it was exactly what I needed to build this week, was just a little tiny build that I could just space out and enjoy landscaping. And I landscaped it pretty simple. I didn't do too much. You'll see in a little bit that the lighting ends up changing kind of drastically because I had taken a break and I forgot which time of day I was building in. And so in a little bit it's going to get a little bit brighter, which might be jarring, but I have a transition into it. So it shouldn't be that bad, but just know that the lighting changes completely in a little bit for the rest of the video. But the landscaping is simple. I just did a small slope leading up to where the front door is going to be. I placed some rocks around to hide the slope and make it look more defined. And I used some tall grass to blend it into just the grass, I guess. We're using grass to blend into grass and some mushrooms. And the shape is just super simple. I feel like this is usually how I do all of my builds. There's always a tower in any build that I make. And so I have a tower in the front. It doesn't really have much in the upstairs tower. I think I ended up turning that into an art studio because normally I forget and I leave those sorts of things empty occasionally. And I feel like that was probably going to happen in this build too, but I did make sure that I did it for an artist. But yeah, here is what I mean with the lighting changes a lot. I really don't like how bright it is, but I thought before, when I went back, I was like, oh, I don't like how dark the lighting is, and so I changed it to this time, and it's okay. I'm not gonna complain much, but it just it looks like almost completely different build in the different time of day. I really wish it was easier to control the lighting in the game. I really didn't want to have to mess around with MCCC to keep getting the lighting to how I wanted it to be, but this is what we get for this one. It's not a very long build video this week either. It's only about 15 minutes, which is half the amount of what my builds have usually been, because my recent builds, they've been a little bit bigger and just a lot more work going into them because I have to furnish a lot more. But this one, it was it felt like a little baby break from all of that. And yeah, I liked putting the fences into the ground a little bit, like the stone fences. I felt like it just added a little bit of detail and dimension into the landscape because it is very simple. There really isn't much going on with it besides literal rocks and stone and flowers and a few trees around. And normally I'll do some sort of water feature and a pond, but I didn't do any of that here. I just had a very it feels very natural to have just a slope like this leading up to a house. I feel like this is normally what I would see. I wouldn't really see rocks defining that slope in real life, at least where I am. But I definitely see a lot of houses that are just slightly raised on a slope like that. And so it's all right, I'll do this. And then I use those small There is, like, in the fence category, but they're just, like, look like lines through that dirt path, and I, like, usually use those to pretend like they're, like, a staircase without having to do a whole bunch of steps to make, like, a staircase. I don't know, I like how that looks. That I haven't done it in a little bit, but, like, I used to do that in pretty much all of my builds, and I remember coming up with that in, like, my first ever speed build that I made, which was, like, well over a year ago now, because my first ever speed build was back in, like, December, not this December, but the previous one, and I remember, like, freaking out 'cause I was like, "Whoa, like, what did I do with this weird slope and these, like, like, stairs going up?" And I had candles lining it and stuff, and so, like, ever since that build, I would, like, occasionally do that in, like, most of my builds. It's been a while, I've been like, I kind of forgot about doing that. At one point, I used to landscape by just, like, surrounding a build by water and rocks, and that was my landscaping. And now I guess as of, like, the last few months, it's really just raising it up slightly and putting some rocks around, and, like, sometimes not even that because, like, I'm also, like, I haven't done a whole bunch of, like, actual terrain in, like, a lot of my recent builds. I've been mostly just layering a bunch of trees around, and I'm like, "Yeah, that'll do." I won't do too much work, and, like, even this one, it was just, like, a little bit raised in the front, it wasn't, like, way too much. But I, like, placed some of the ivy around on the exterior of the build. I had, like, also haven't used the thatched roof in a little bit. This kinda reminds me of the pumpkin cottage build that I had made, like, I guess I don't even know when time doesn't exist. I don't know when that was, but, they were like, the orangey thatched roof just reminds me of that, and I really like how it looks with these yellow flowers layered in with the Discover University ivy. I really like those flowers, and I also forgot about those because I don't use those very often either, but I was making, like, a castle build on my Twitch stream the other day, and I was using pink flowers to, like, line the, castle walls, and I was also using the Discover University ivy, and I really liked how those flowers blended in with each other, and so this one, I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna use the yellow flowers," and it kind of, like, it's not a fall build, but it, like, gives me that vibe, and probably because I have some of those bushes in the back that are, like, kind of yellowish, it's, like, not green, but all the other trees are green except for those bushes, and just, like, the roof just gives me that vibe for some reason. I know that summer's just starting, it's, like, mid-June now, but I feel like once summer comes around and it starts getting warm, my mind is just like, I want fall to be here. Cause like, and I remember saying, I was like, oh yeah, I'm kind of excited for like the warmer months and like summer in my garden. But now I'm like, I kind of just, I don't want it to be 90 degrees or even like 80 degrees. That's like too much for me. Even like I just don't like any amount of warm weather. Anything like above like 75, I'm like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. But I in this build, I had realized that I didn't really have a lot of space for a bathroom, so I did bring out that piece in the back, and I was really debating on if I was gonna do that or not. I was like, "I feel like I don't want to." But then I was like, "Megan, you have to." I was like, "Alright, I'll I'll just move some stuff around and give, like, a whole new room for the build so that I could fit a bathtub in," and that's what I end up doing. And I have, like, weird shaped hallways in this build, but somehow it works. I just didn't want the, like, bedroom door and the bathroom door to be right in the kitchen and dining area, and but then I was like, "Oh, I want an entrance to the bathroom that's not just through the bedroom too." So I have, like, an entryway that could have had a doorway to the bedroom, but I was like, "No, I'm gonna have the bedroom door in a tiny hallway off to the side where the bathroom door is also," and that's kind of how I went with it. Also, this is my first build using the new bistro kit. I just bought it right before I was, like, starting this build because, Like, I was like, "Okay, there looks like there's some good items in here," and I mostly got it 'cause I was like, "Yeah, I could use that, like, the wine bottle decor and stuff like that." And then I looked and I had seen that cute little dining room table with the 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 tablecloth. I couldn't even think of the word. The tablecloth. The tablecloth is like slightly hanging off and like not like perfectly lined up. And I was like, wow, this is the perfect table. This is my go-to table. And then I had seen these curtains and I was like blown away at these curtains because I always use the other square curtain from like um I don't even know which pack. The Growing Together pack, there's like a square curtain like that, and I use that in every single one of my builds. And now there's another one, and I like this design so much more. And I know that this is going to be one of my like go-to curtains from now on. That shelf is also from the new kit. I couldn't really have like space for those large shelves that I kind of was like looking at for a second, but I wanna use those in a build. I love the coffee machine too, like, this feels like the, like, cutest little kit that kind of, like, works perfectly for a cottage. Even though it's, like, for a bistro, I feel like it has that cottage feel to me, and I really like it, especially the coffee maker. I feel like a lot of the appliances just aren't my style in this game. But that one, I'm like, "Wow, I need that," and I put a wine bottle on the counter, and then I was, like, going through and just seeing what other stuff there is. I haven't, like, looked at every single item in the kit yet, but I'm, like, really excited about the kit, and it made me really excited while I was furnishing the interior of this little cottage. I always get a little excited when there's, like, a new pack and I find some new items that I know are gonna be my go-tos. Because this build mostly, like, all the furniture I've used are my go-to items. Like, I haven't really used anything that different. Like, every, like, thing I pull out is stuff that I've used over and over again in so many builds. But then when I, like, have some new items, I'm like, "Wow, like, this is a whole different interior now." Like, this all looks completely different even though it's only, like, a couple items. Like, even the table, like, I could have used the cottage living table and it has like the tablecloth, but that one just felt like so different and it felt like CC to me, which I don't build with CC. So I'm like, wow, this is cool. And then that curtain, even though I use a different one that's like the same shape of it, I'm like, this one has a different pattern on it. And so this is a completely different build now from everything else that I've ever done. And then the bathroom is very simple over here. I guess I realized that I didn't do much with the walls or the flooring. It's like the same throughout, which it's like a like weathered wooden wall and weathered wooden floor, and they're very similar light wood to each other. It looks good from here. I could imagine standing in there, maybe it would be a little bit too much wood, but I'm not standing in the house, so it's fine, and these Sims aren't real, so, like, who cares? But, yeah, I'd like maybe that's also why I really enjoyed this build. I didn't have to go through and pick out a whole bunch of wallpapers and flooring, which is usually what I end up struggling with the most with an interior is like trying to find wallpapers that look good while also not using too much of the same. And it's just like always a lot of like effort that goes into it, I guess. Whereas sometimes when I just like accidentally just like keep the walls like this, it feels like the build comes together a lot quicker than, like, anything else. I don't have to worry about, like, picking out furniture to match the walls because I was like, "This is all just wooden, and I'm just picking out what I like best, and everything is gonna pair nicely with this wallpaper and stuff because it's literally just a very neutral wood," and that's that for that, and I also really like the bathroom too. There's not that much, like, clutter in it, but I just, like, really like how it looks. It looks almost, like, realistic to me. It's just, like, a little laundry basket and a rug, and that's, like, it, and, like, a towel hanging on the wall, and then I put a little bit more clutter into the bedroom, not, like, too much. I really just, like, stacked some stuff around on the desk just to make it seem like it's lived in, but without putting way too much in. And then I made a little back garden area because I thought it was fitting, and I had the staircase out there, so it was like, I feel like I need to do something with it. Then these are the screenshots of the build where you could see each room. And I guess I used a lot of yellow accents in this build. I just really like yellow with that wood tone. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I might do like a shell challenge build for next week. But yeah, thank you. Bye.